3SFX presents the Indoob podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indoobians. I'm T. Sterling Watson.
And I'm Kortney.
This is the Indoob podcast, where drive time meets late night talk shows. We aim to entertain, enlighten, and provide an auditory escape with knowledge and nonsense. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. We're recording live from Little New Indubia on the corner of T'Chaka and MLK Drive. Kortney, Abigail, Allen, Hinton, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing swimmingly today.
Excellent.
Yeah, just great. I'm just going to jump into it. We've got some special guests, not even just one, but two. And technically one has been, actually, no, let me back up again. They've actually been on the podcast before. This is way back in episode 2 that they have made an appearance, I believe is episode 2. But then again, one in particular joined me, I believe, a couple years ago with a very special after school special episode of the Indoob podcast. But I am welcoming for the first time officially for their, because it's been a busy couple weeks celebrating the 18th church anniversary. Let's see, there was Father's Day that happened, Juneteenth happened, and we're also celebrating the 40th anniversary of my beloved parents, Donald and Shervie Watson.
Hello. Hello.
Hi. How are you guys today?
We're doing okay. Yeah, we're doing okay.
Good. And I know you guys are tired. I bombarded you just as you're returning home from your lovely vacation getaway for your 40th anniversary. Which I think that's I forgot what color that was, or it's like a special stone or color when it comes to the 40th. I don't quite remember what it was, but
oh yeah, I don't remember either.
Did you have did you have a good time?
Yes, we actually had a great time. It was wonderful time, especially a place we've never been to.
Where did y'all go?
We went to Ocean City, Maryland.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the first time we've been there. Very nice. Yeah.
And the water?
Oh, the water was cold. And he'll want me to say how it was, because the first day I went in, it was ice cold, like water with the ice in it. And then the second day is without the ice, but it was cold.
Oh my.
So if you can figure that out. But we had a good time. At least they had an indoor pool, so we were able to go in the pool afterwards.
That's good. I'm so glad.
But it was a nice boardwalk and a lot of activity. Very exciting.
Yeah, I did get a couple pictures, or at least a plate full of crab legs. So yeah.
Yes. It was, we went to a place called Jonah and the Whale, and they had all you can eat crabs, snow crabs.
Oh my goodness.
That's what Donald had. And I had all you can eat shrimp and clam strips. So that was very good.
All of that sounds so good.
I went to this restaurant called Belly Busters.
Oh my. Oh my.
So we enjoyed the meal there also.
Okay. That sounds great.
Good something.
Yeah, we went to this other place called Pit and Pub.
Yeah, Pit and Pub.
And that's where they had the brisket. Yeah, the brisket.
The brisket and the pulled pork.
Yeah. Yeah, so we ate pretty good the last few days.
It sounds like it, and it sounds like it was a different place each night too. So
yes,
some variety.
Yeah, we didn't want to go to places we knew about, like Popeyes and Subway, and
then we didn't want to go to the real fancy places that really decorate the plate and don't give you no food.
Right. It's like, no, we're hungry.
Good places that are just for people who are on Instagram only, just to take pictures of food, not actually eat them. So yeah.
Yes.
Sounds about right. Although even, what you showed me, I'm like, yeah, I would still take a picture of that and eat it too. So
yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, they give you, I think the first plate is you get a pound each time. But it
Ooh.
seemed like it's different from up here when they have all you can eat. They usually give you a lesser amount every time they bring another plate out. With them, they give you more.
Oh
when it
my!
Oh
comes out.
wow,
Yeah, so they're
my
really
kind of
good.
restaurant.
Yeah. I recommend you go there. Yes.
Duly noted. And I mean, we'll definitely take notes of these places that you went to, and if I feel like putting them in the show notes, like the maybe links to wherever you went, well, we'll see. We'll see. But it sounds like you had a great time, which you both do deserve the time off and the food, because I mean that's of course what I would be there for. But I'm glad you had a great time.
Yeah, it was really good.
Now,
I would like
because
to
it
have
is, said you'd like to go again?
I would like to have one more day.
Oh, one more day. Yes.
Day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I understand. That's actually something up Kortney's alley. She usually has a buffer day after she comes back from like vacation or wherever, just a day to
Yes.
reacclimate.
I actually did that this time, so I got tomorrow off. So,
Oh, good.
yes, I remembered.
Well, since this is your official first time, you do have to answer the official icebreaker question, which is Ben and Jerry's, the popular ice cream brand. You may have heard of them. They reached out to you, both of you, and you can have your own separate answers, but they reached out to both of you and they are inquiring for a new ice cream flavor. So you can come up with the flavor and a fun little name for it too, because they like to be unique in their naming of ice cream flavors. So what is the ice cream flavor and what do you call it?
Oh boy. You want to go first?
I haven't a clue.
Let me think here, because I was trying to. What did I get? I know I want it to be vanilla and pecans, and caramel, and probably maybe a little bit of cinnamon in it, and cookie dough. No chocolate chips or anything, just cookie dough.
So like sugar cookie dough.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would like in the Ben & Jerry's altogether. So that was pecans, cookie dough, sugar cookie dough, caramel, and a little bit of cinnamon.
Okay.
But I don't know what we're called.
I mean, I'm mostly on board, but you lost me once you added the pecans to it, so I don't, want to partake.
You and that word.
I know. Yeah, I don't know what I would call it though.
Bacon surprise. I don't know, but just throwing that out there.
What did you say? Bacon surprise.
I did.
Oh. Yeah, pecan surprise. That's good.
Okay. And Dad, have you thought of anything?
Sure. Let me go with a vanilla crunch. And that crunch tastes like buttered or cheesy popcorn.
Okay.
Cheesy popcorn dipped in chocolate dip. Yeah, we'll go with that.
And this is something you'd actually eat?
You didn't say I had to actually eat it.
I mean, normally people would come up with a flavor that they would eat themselves.
Well, I love popcorn, and so yeah, I'll probably attempt it.
Okay. I mean, it's a very interesting, flavor. I mean, I'm not going to knock it because I haven't tried it, so I would try it first. Like, okay.
Yeah, so I think I would, I think I would try it. I don't want to do one of those kindergarten mixtures that the kids that I talk with sometimes be making stuff up.
Right. Because you work with children at a elementary school, so surely they would come up with some interesting concoctions, which they probably would try too, and have their friends dare them because,
Yep, every day.
Mm.
Every day.
Wow. Well, since I know that I might have you for a limited time on the show, we will jump to one of the reasons why we brought you here. Because I do have my regular segments, but we can go to those later if there's time. And although I think maybe what we will start with, though, is just because it's everything that's been happening regarding movies and TV shows. I did want to give a quick writer strike update. I'll just get that in the way, I suppose. As of recording today, we're on day 50. When this comes out, it's probably day 51. And there was just a number of shows and movies affected, such as, I believe, let's see, Blade, a whole bunch of Marvel products. Or productions, I'll put it that way. And TV shows that were supposed to go into production, but are not. So all those that are looking for Mandalorian season 4, you have to wait a little while. And the list continues to grow as the strike continues. We're only halfway compared to the last strike back in 2007, and a third compared to the strike that was in 1988. So still got a ways to go because apparently no one has come to any agreements to resume work. And we stand with the writers to make sure they are paid. Yeah. But there still are some things. We have no writers.
For your show? You got no writers?
No, well, I write the rundown, and then I have an AI write the show notes.
Oh.
That I go back and tweak a little bit just to make sure
you're
everything
not part of the union.
I'm not part of the union, no. And it does cost some money to join the guild, but it is worth it because you get all these benefits, and you would get more benefits should they get what they're demanding, which is, with a lot of TV shows now, they have shorter episodes per season. And the bigwigs who run these production companies don't see it that, like, they don't put the same work in as like a 22 episode TV show. So they're like, we're not going to pay you the same amount, when really they're doing the same amount of work, sometimes more work. Or they feel that the writers don't need to be on set when there could be some issue that doesn't make sense when they're actually shooting the scene. And if they just call a writer to come in, they can fix it easily and keep things moving. But no, they don't do that. And it costs more money for them to go back to the writer's room to do whatever they need to do. And the big studios don't see this, or don't think that it's worth paying them for that time. So there's things like that. That's why they're striking right now. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good point. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's what I'm here for. But as for things that have come out that we can talk about, or I'll just kind of give a breeze through, Transformers came out. That was an enjoyable film.
You saw it?
I did see it, yes.
Oh yeah, I want to see it.
I did bring the kid, as I call him on the podcast. I did bring Ken with me. He also enjoyed it.
Good.
I think he still likes Spider-Man better than Transformers, but he still had a good time. So
okay, good.
That was important. We did see The Flash, which I feel like he didn't enjoy as much. If you were to ask him, he would say yes, he liked it, but he seemed more interested in just wandering the theater because there weren't a lot of people there. So yeah.
Okay.
So, but we liked it for what it was. And I think at some point we'll probably do a deeper dive in that particular film because it has to do with like multiverses, and I liked how they presented their multiverse compared to what we're used to seeing over at Marvel. So
right.
That was
different. It was very different.
It was. And now we're going to jump over to streaming movies such as Flamin' Hot, which is the story of the Flamin' Hot Cheetos. That was actually quite inspiring. So I did like it and decided to watch it on a whim. That is partially my recommendation. I've got a few. I'm saving them for a little bit later. And one more would be Extraction 2. And I'm not throwing that in there just because my dad's on the podcast today, but it is a great action movie. And Kortney, I don't know if you have watched this one yet, but it's got one of the best single take shots, probably the longest
Ooh.
that I've seen now. So
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't. I need to see the first one first. So once again,
mhm.
I'll have to wait, but it's on my list because that one did it caught my attention.
Mhm. I can confidently say that you don't need to watch Extraction 1 to watch Extraction 2, because I've seen Extraction, the first one, but I couldn't tell you really much about it, and like other than the fact that like, hey, I thought you died, but no, you're still alive. So, and that would seem like a spoiler, but it isn't, because of the fact that, I mean, we have Extraction 2 starring Chris Hemsworth. So, yeah. But totally worth watching. Great action throughout. And yeah, I would actually go back just to rewatch that scene, because I think it's like maybe 20 minutes, maybe 10. It felt very long, and I knew there were cuts hidden in there, but it was so well done that
Yeah.
a couple articles did come out about it, so I'm going to warn you guys now. There is an annoying kid, and he's annoying in the fact that like he's just making the wrong choices, which I know makes for good TV, good movies, but it just just pace yourself. Just that's my only warning. It's not a spoiler. I'm just saying, like, there's a kid out there that's annoying one. So yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're just gonna jump into some questions. Again, you are celebrating your 40th anniversary, and I will kick things off, and then Kortney, you can just jump in if you've got questions as well, because I mean, this was kind of an idea that we came up with together, just having you guys on, just to celebrate you guys and 40 years, which is a lot. Like that's a big deal. So I figured
That's nice.
I figured I'd start at the beginning and ask, how did you guys meet? Like, I know, but like other people don't.
Let me tell the truth.
I would hope so.
Yes.
So it was a blind date on her part. So I actually seen her at a party, and my best friend and her friend were friends. And I said, "Ooh, I want to meet her." And the next day, he made arrangements for us to go to a basketball game. So the four of us went to basketball games, but we took two separate cars because I'm shy and bashful, and I need to talk to her by myself. So that's how we met. She was at a party.
Yeah, he saw me at a party, but I didn't see him.
Which you guys met at the basketball game?
No, what do you pick me up?
I'll pick you up.
Yeah, you picked me up.
Yeah. I picked her up at a basketball game, and then I took her out to a club, and not realizing at the time that she wasn't 21. But we had a good time anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, huh?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I guess how long was it until you guys realized that you two wanted to get married, or what was it? When did you two know that it's like, hey, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? When did that happen?
Let's see. We because I was still in school and
college.
Well, it was college. It was a business college. Business college I went to in New Haven, and so he came. I was going to different events, and he would offer to take me, and then he was taking me to different. We kept going out like every other weekend, and then during the week sometimes, and then he offered to help me move back home. So and I thought that was really nice, and of course my mother enjoyed that also because she didn't have to do anything. And he came to my graduation. I graduated from Stone School of Business, and then he also offered to drive my mother and our family down south. So he was getting that plug in with my mother, so so that was really great. And So we just kept seeing each other. It was about, I think about after 6 months. That's when,
Okay.
yeah, 6 months it took. And then he wanted to, get married.
Mm.
And then of course, I had met his mother and father, and she was saying I was that I'm the one he should keep because all the other girls he has, like, they were not good. He said, you need to be with her.
Mm.
So I got along with his mother. And then for some reason we had, I didn't hear from him. And so I just kept calling his mother, and I would
Mm.
always talk with her to see where he was at. And she would talk to him and saying, you need to call her and get back together with her. And then we got back together because I wasn't like chasing him down, but I was just wanted to stay in touch and make sure he was okay. And and keeping in touch with his mother. But I guess he just didn't feel that it would work out, I guess what they call cold feet or something. But we ended back together and been together ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give for a long-lasting marriage?
For me, well, we always say communication.
Mhm.
No matter what, I mean, that's your best friend, that's your lover, that's your husband. You just stay together, just keep talking about anything and everything, and you trust each other. And the main thing for us was keeping God in the middle because He's the glue.
Mhm.
He's the glue. You go to Him for everything. We pray together. And the other thing I would add is, we get upset with each other and you have arguments, but never go to bed upset with each other. Make sure you talk before you go to bed. Don't go to bed angry with each other. So that's my 2 cents. Did you want to add anything?
No, I think we really summed it all up.
Y'all on the same page then.
Yeah, because we always say we are one,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you?
Plus with us both having, I guess, our parents divorced and had, like a bad marriage, their first marriage, his mother's first marriage. We just always, when we got married, we just made that promise we're not going to get divorced. We're going to work things out. We went into the marriage with God. We put God first in everything, and He works things out.
Well, let's back up. When we first got married, we was not in the church. At least I definitely wasn't. And I wasn't saved. But we had made that promise to each other that no matter what, we wouldn't get a divorce. Later on, I got saved. Later on, I got into the church.
And then later on became a pastor. Much later on, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes, much later.
Much later.
Kortney, did you have any additional questions or thoughts? I do have a couple more, but
no, that was my question, was what's the secret sauce to a successful marriage, and that's been answered. That's all I'm here for.
Yeah.
Well, when I talk to some of the older guys, they always say the answer is yes, dear. Yes, dear. So you never get in an argument to try to win, but you just want to get in and listen to what they got to say, and come out breaking even. But you never want to try to win the argument.
One of the things that I do recall you guys showing me, not just telling me, but showing me, is that you still think of each other as boyfriend and girlfriend, going on dates and just, doing stuff like cutesy like, because I can't think of another kind of word for it, romantic or all of those things. And, just kind of keeps it young and fun. So.
Yes, definitely. And I always really see each other. I'll just grab his hand when we're walking or something. Come on, hold my hand. So I don't want to hold your hand, but then we just hold hands, act like you're on a date. Have those date nights too, which we encourage you and Mittery. You got to have those times, and just you got to just keep it real.
Right.
Keep that love, that fire burning.
And Kortney, what I used to tell all of them is, when you get married, don't act like you're married. Act like your boyfriend and girlfriend, and try to hold on to that as long as possible.
Yes.
Because if you can hold on to that as long as possible, your marriage won't change. It'll stay great because you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend.
I like that.
Yeah.
Make sure you tell that to Daniel. So yeah.
Oh, I will. When we try to, every couple weeks we will go out, just because it's pretty much guaranteed we won't have the kids, so we'll go out on our dates. And so we've been keeping, we haven't been at this very long, but we've been adamant about keeping that going.
Yeah.
And we both look forward to it and rely on it. So good to know we're on the right track.
Yeah. And it doesn't always have to be an expensive thing. You can just go out for ice cream, or go walking, go to the park. Even if you just go to McDonald's or something like that. It just be something simple, just as long as you're together and just have a good time together and enjoy each other.
Something intentional together.
Yeah.
Well, Kortney, you kind of segued a bit into my, I'll say, last-ish question here, and it's more so for Mom, because she kind of dealt with it directly. But do you have any advice for step parents just coming in and kind of?
That's a good question.
Is that something that both Kortney and I, we are step parents, and just how do we?
How do we do it?
Any advice? Yeah, how do we do it, or just advice? Just any kind words?
It's really just getting that relationship with the child that is not yours. You first, and with your spouse who is the parent. Really just getting used to that fact that that's not yours, but you want to love them as yours. It's just getting to know them and trying to relate to them. I'm not trying to replace your parent, but I want to be, your friend first, but I do want to take care of you the best I can, and just have that relationship first. You got to build that. And of course it takes a lot of prayer, but you want to build that relationship with the child and not come in there strong and try and take over. You still get the permission from the actual parent of what can I do? How can I make this, a parent and child relationship that they will accept me? You just got to work up to that. It's not going to happen just like that, but it's a work in progress. And then just let them know that you love them as your own, and then they start to respect you in that way. That's pretty much, what you do.
Well, I think it's always been a challenge when a man comes into the relationship and he has the kids and the woman don't have the kids. Because it's always been the other way around, where the women had the kids and then she would quickly say, you got to love me and my kids, but then when it's vice versa, then, there's some conversation that goes on, because now the man is coming in with the kids. And I think, and deep down inside the woman, I'm glad Shervie doesn't feel that way, but she could feel that way, where that's not really my child. I didn't give birth to that child. But then that's when you get past that and you say, yes, I got to love your kids as well, and show equal love to them, even though that woman did not give birth to that child.
But I found it easy to do, not easy, but because that child was a part of, Mittery is a part of Donald. And I love him, and that is his part of him. So I was able to love her. You know what I mean? Because that's just the same as loving him, because that's his child. So I love her as mine. you know.
Well,
Yeah.
I definitely thank you for that. And also helps me to say like, oh, okay, I am too also on the right path. So yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It is work, but if you want things to work out, then you got to put something in it, you know.
Mhm. Yes, it is work, and that's something Courtney and I often talk about, how just at times just feels exhausting, but
Yeah.
rewarding too, because we've discussed getting that feedback from them, like we feel the genuine love and acceptance from them, and it's nothing quite like it. So
Yeah, and it's really worth it, especially when they grow up. Because I get that with Mittery now. She appreciated that I took the time with her and showed her different things and just being a mother to her. That's really rewarding, you know.
mhm.
So it's worth it. It really is worth it.
So that's something to look forward to, since
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they may
Something
not
to keep in mind.
appreciate it at that time, but
Mm,
Yeah.
when they grow up, then you'll find out, you know.
Yeah, but I think the other issue we don't always talk about is when one child is being raised by one parent, and then that parent gets married, but then the biological parent wants to spend some time with them or wants to keep them for a period of time. That requires a lot of conversation, a lot of prayer, especially if you know that other parent is not 100%. You know, a lot of prayer.
Yeah, because I didn't at first with Mittery, her real mother, we didn't get along. But through the years, now it's like we're friends, and that's all God, I tell
That
you.
was a tough decision.
It was
for you
hard.
to go and let her stay with her for a while.
Yeah, that was tough because I raised her, and then all of a sudden her mother wanted to take her, have her live with her for a while. That was very hurtful, but because she wasn't mine, and
They can't see you pointing at me, by the way.
oh, I'm well, okay. That was the decision between Donald and the real mother. So, and I had to accept that, that decision. Though it was hurtful to me. I mean, I put a lot of work in, taking care of her. But like I said, in the end, she's grown up. She appreciated what I did for her. And the mother, me and her mother became friends. So it worked out. A lot of patience.
You guys ask some personal questions.
We want to know.
Yes,
we need to know.
We are looking towards our elders, the wisdom that you guys have, and just giving it and sharing it so freeing. And I'm thankful for that, because you seek to you for advice. But those are the questions that I had. Did you have anything else, Kortney?
I didn't. This is a wealth of information and knowledge, though, and I'm grateful for the conversation.
Well, we feel honored that you're asking. It's an honor. Those just our 2 cents, and it's just what worked for us.
I feel I will.
Well, he's trying to think what Mittery used to call us. I don't know. It's parental.
Parental units.
Yes.
And choosing and training.
Yeah.
Well, because that's what we would call you guys, and I think we got it from a movie. It might have been Coneheads, because I think that's what they.
Yes.
So, and we did it so often that I think we forgot that's where it came from, and it just became another term to call you guys, because I mean that's what you were, you're parental units. So
yeah, go check with the parental units,
So I friend of mine who's like legit from China, so the translation kind of came through a little broken, but I feel this is a good place to put it, and I might add it on to my already long ending that I normally do for the podcast, but I figured this would be an interesting transition to say it now. They shared it with me, and I'm like, wow, that's really good. I need to write that down. So I did, and I actually simplified it. So then again, you may hear this again or repeatedly, but the greatest wealth in life is wisdom. The greatest success is harmony. The greatest happiness is to feel the full self. And the greatest harvest is to cultivate the eternal spirit.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
deep.
That's what I said when I was like, wow, where did that was like like a Chinese proverb or something, but
right.
Yeah, you know, frame that, put it in a poster, frame it.
I know there's actually some other words I had left out, but I mean, I just kind of wanted to simplify it. But I'm like, it's like, yeah, this is good, and it fits right here, so it might be added to my already long outro. But yes, again, thank you so much for all of that. I didn't have a actual Black History fact for today, but I did think about just mentioning a controversial opinion. I mean, it's my own opinion, and just wondering your thoughts on it. But we discussed it last year, or at least Kortney and I did. The Juneteenth flag, which is red and white, or red and blue, it's kind of a bit of an arch, and there's a star in the middle. And I don't know, have you all seen it before? The Juneteenth flag?
Yes, I think I did see it briefly. Yeah.
You know, I didn't see it.
And Kortney, you've seen it before?
I haven't seen it. Mm-mm.
Okay. Only saying that because I'm not really a fan of it. I love what Juneteenth stands for, but it's just maybe the designer in me, I just don't like, and I get what it means. Like, it has a whole point to it. Like the star that's in the middle, I think, is the star leading to free. I don't want to make it up, but it's got a point to it. I just, as a design of the flag, I don't particularly care for it. But
what's the color?
The colors are red and blue, and then there's a white star in the middle of it.
So I did look it up because I have seen it. Because I think I have seen that, and I have. And yes, it is not the greatest looking flag to me.
Okay, I feel a little better.
It's just basic. It's real basic.
Yeah. And I was okay with being the only one in the room that like had this thought or this feeling, and like, I'll stand on this hill. I don't necessarily will die on the hill, but I'll just be like, yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but I love what it represents. But I mean, this is the final decision. Like, we couldn't go with
that doesn't sound like a really good thing.
I mean, and it's just, again, it's just my thoughts, my opinions on it, and like they've could have went like the next, like this was a draft and it just wasn't quite complete.
Yeah.
CNN says that it is very symbolic, and so I can. So okay, I see the symbolism, but yeah, it's still pretty. Like it is a first draft. Like it's still so basic.
And I don't mean to offend the creator, the designer of it. It's just not something I would pick. Like if I were on the voter board, I would not vote for it.
Yeah.
So did you guys see the CNN special on Juneteenth?
We're cord cutters. Yeah, we don't have any cable.
Yeah, we don't have CNN, unfortunately.
Well, I think I was just disappointed only because I didn't watch the whole thing, because it was just concerts. It was just one singer after another, so I think I was looking for more information, more texture to it.
Yeah, more historical background or something, wording.
Like a speech or two.
I might have missed all that anyway, but to me, it was just a concert. I'm like, oh.
No, I didn't. I do know there were several events that happened. People did ask me if, and then I in turn asked Kortney, but like some of us had to work, which for me it was okay. There was a trade-off, and I didn't send it to you guys, but I will after this. But my job over at Espen, they had a lovely Juneteenth special lunch. So yes, I did have to pay for it, but they had barbecue chicken, like a whole leg. It was very delicious, and greens, collard greens and dirty rice.
Wow.
And it was so good. Like I feel like that the chefs there, who I'm pretty sure were black, the chefs there took their seasonings from home to make this food.
Nice. Nice.
Because it was so good, and I regretted eating all of it at work because I was, as Midori likes to say, no more good for the rest of the day. And I mean, my intention was to eat like some of it and then bring it home, maybe, share some of it with Ashley, maybe, but like it didn't make it. So,
oh, wow.
that was the majority of my Juneteenth celebration this year. But other than that, I heard of many other events going on, but I don't know if there were concerts or speeches, or I'm not sure. Like, what else would you have been looking for? Just more of like, I don't want to say spoken word, but or a couple speeches or just presentations.
Maybe some presentations and more content. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
History.
I mean, we're introducing this to the world, and then we're saying, hey, these are the last slaves that got freed. And as we celebrate this, which is a good thing to do, and don't get me wrong, I think it's a great thing to do, but I think some history or some content should have been along with that. And like I said, and it could have been. It really could have been. I just missed it. So.
Okay.
It was more of a concert, though, it seems like.
Yeah, sounds like that's possibly what it could have been. But yeah, I mean, I will look into it, see if there is additional things. Well, at least with that particular broadcast. I know a lot of people were having either marathons or not people, but channels of specifically Black content, but still nothing specific about like history, unless you look at key episodes like Blackish. They did a whole episode about Juneteenth. And that came out a couple of years ago, but they like to re-air it. So I don't know. That could have been shown too yesterday.
Yeah.
And that will actually give me another segue to something I wrote down here. Over at Disney Plus, coming out in 2 weeks, is something called Kizazi Moto, Generation Fire. It is a bunch of short films, animated, all from like African animators, I believe. I think they're directors as well, but it's a bunch of like short films put together, or maybe they're not necessarily African, but they're African stories that are being told visually. And that's going to be on Disney Plus on July 5th. Found that out at work. So I'm like,
nice.
So I'm like, wow, okay, that's something I definitely would like to check out. And so that's coming July 5th, but also coming this week is Secret Invasion. So the next big Marvel event, and gonna find out who's a Skrull or not. And I think it's all weekly episodes. I don't think they're going to be doing it all at once because Disney wants their money. So yeah, if that's what they have to do. So that's some things to look out for.
Nice.
Are you guys interested in a quick little Spookums story by any chance?
Sure.
Okay, well, let me get my little Spookums music here to get everybody ready. Okay, so now I just need to just paint the picture, because I know not everybody knows about my part-time job over at the radio station. So I work overnight, get there from 10 or usually like 9:30. My shift starts at 10 and all the way to 6 in the morning. Now, there's only a few other people that work overnight with me. One of those guys, his name is Paul. He's a full-time person there. He's been working there since like the 60s. So he's, up there in age, but he's also up there in height too. He's very tall. And so he's a cool guy. I've met him a few times. And occasionally I'll run into him, like if I'm there during the day or I happen to have a evening shift during the week. So it's unlikely that too many people, especially on the weekend, run into each other unless like there's an event like a gala or some other function that I normally don't attend for whatever reason. So one of my coworkers, Alicia, was there who I was coming to relieve, and I showed up and I was at the door and I see her in the studio and she's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Did you see Paul?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see Paul. Paul isn't here. It's just me. Like, there's just 2 cars in the parking lot. It's just yours and mine." So I was like, "No, Paul's not here. Like, he came in at like 9:00 and I thought he was still here. Like, I didn't see him leave." And that's also something that happens if you're in the building. In most of the studios, there's a little light that goes on anytime the door is open. So you're like, if you're there for the weekend, you'll know somebody's coming, somebody's leaving, somebody's entering or exiting the building. So she didn't see this light go off, I believe, like when he left, if he even arrived, because she told me as I went over to the break room, because she was like, "Yeah, Paul was here. Like, I came into the break room light was off, but he was standing here in the dark." And I thought that was weird. And then he just said to me, "He's like, aren't you glad to see me?" It was 9:00 when this happened. And she says that he said to her in the dark, like, "Aren't you glad that I'm here?" And
what? I don't like it.
And she was like, "Oh, I guess so." And like, because apparently she did see him, like she saw the light come on when he came in, but never saw when he left. If I remember correctly.
I don't like it.
No.
He's retelling the story to me in the break room as I'm kind of looking around, and I'm like, okay. And we're both thinking the same thing, but she just, and we've talked before, so she often will say aloud what we're both thinking. And she was like, "Is he dead?" And
wow.
I was like, "I don't know." I didn't want to believe that he was, because I mean, he's up there in age, but like I'm sure he's still healthy and spry and whatnot. But like I don't know. Like, I wouldn't have gotten a notification until the general manager would send an email out to let people know, which he does. Like, "Hey, so and so needs prayer," or "So and so is sick. Would you be able to cover?" Or something like that. But sometimes that wouldn't happen until maybe a day later. So.
Oh, no.
So she is wrapping up her shift, and I'm still like, okay, that just happened, or she just told me that. So, and I'm normally fine, because I've been doing this for a few years, being by myself in this building in the middle of nowhere, where it seems like, and it's just, I normally turn out all the lights to help conserve electricity, but tonight I'm like, nope, I'm going to leave some key lights on all night, because I am just not certain that, I mean, Paul's a good dude, and I'm thinking, if he were to just, why would he stop by the station first before he would, go on up to the glories? But so
is your coworker prone to like joking around or pranking or anything? Like, is it a possibility she was trying to scare you?
She had a legit startled look when she realized that Paul wasn't there. Like, she was confused, because she thought like Paul was going to be taking over for the shift. And like, no, I'm supposed to be here, because that has happened before, where I showed up and it was actually someone else's shift, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go home then, because like, you don't need me here. So,
well, did he have a car? Was his car out in the lot? I mean, how does he get there?
He does drive, and his car was not there. Like, but this whole interaction happened before I got there, so I didn't know that he was even there, and there was really no way of me to know otherwise, because like, I mean, it's happened before where I would arrive and there'd be a few cars, but again, that's usually like after an event has happened, so I would know like, okay, Paul's here, Steve's here, Matt's here, so and I even told her, I was like, yeah, sometimes they do show up after hours, and they might come pick up their mail, or they have to drop off a podium or whatever, they'll stop by, and then they're off again. Usually sometimes they'll tell you they're leaving, but because there are cameras and they have the light notification, you kind of have a feeling you don't really need to see, or for them to tell you, you can just see them, leave. But she didn't see him leave. So that's where it got a little weird. But I
don't like that.
I was nervous, and this was around the time, because normally Saturday nights I do call you, Mom. I'll call and chat with you. But I was unable to do that this time, because you're out, celebrating and gallivanting. Actually, no, you said you were knocked out, but
I was out of it. I was out of it.
So instead, I called Ashley and just kind of calm down. And then I on the phone with her, I decided to explore and look around to see if I can do my own kind of debunking, if you will,
Oh my
which
goodness.
I will say I was successful in doing, because I first of all, there was other weird things that was amiss, and there was like spilled coffee like on the floor, and then in one of the other
What?
rooms. And I was like, okay, that's a little odd. I checked his mailbox. I saw that it was mostly empty. So I'm like, huh. Because normally, like Saturdays when I'm there, his mailbox is full of like papers and stuff, because the weekend, people drop things off.
Uh-huh.
And then I happened to also look in the trash can, where I did find more like evidence of fresh coffee or something, but also a little sticky note that was addressed to Paul, saying how glad to see him again or hear him on the radio. But it was a fresh sticky note, or rather one that was just freshly removed from point A to now the garbage on the top. So I'm like, okay, Paul was actually here, and he just kind of snuck out. So as of this recording,
have you seen Paul though, like with your own eyes?
I have not, but I was confident that he was not in the building, and I need not worry any further. So as of, he's still with us in his corporal form. So yeah. I didn't get any emails later on Sunday or Monday for that matter, just to, just any kind of emails like, hey, keep Paul in your prayers or anything. So he's fine.
Good.
So
Well, that's good.
Right.
Praise the Lord.
I was a little worried there for a second.
You were worried.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to suddenly see this tall figure just in the dark in the corner looking at me, smiling as he does.
I'm here?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I can't state enough, he is a nice guy. Like, I've enjoyed my conversations with him. I just don't know how I would feel having conversations with his ghost, should that ever happen. So
Right.
So yeah. So not an official real spookums, but I was spooked, so I felt it was a story I could share nonetheless.
I think it's quite spooky.
That is quite spooky. And but you just brought back a memory that I had over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the smokehouse, and we get in the smokehouse and we're waiting for our food to come. Meanwhile, this guy comes in, a middle-aged guy, maybe same age as me, maybe a little bit older, and he's very talkative when he comes in. So he turns around and he tells his story. He goes, there's real UFOs around here. And I was here, and a UFO flew over my head, and it was a nice clear night. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to leave here and go back to the hotel. And I'm walking. I don't want to see no UFO, and I don't want a UFO over my head. But and so the lady came out and says, she called him by name, and so the lady knew him, and she was like, "No, there's gonna be no UFOs around here tonight." So I'm like, "Okay, fine. I'm going back to the hotel."
Not tonight.
Right.
Like, what?
I'm so glad she was confident in knowing that there wouldn't be any UFOs, as if she had already previously spoken to them.
Yeah,
not on my watch.
Yeah,
not today.
no, I don't need to see anything. I'm going home.
Yeah, because I don't know what exactly I would have done if I didn't find the evidence that Paul was actually there. Because that was the beginning of my shift. Like, I would have to wait a whole 8 hours and then report to whoever came next. Like, yeah, this happened. I don't know if I would have told them or not, but
yeah.
I mean, I did have other issues, but they weren't supernatural as far as I know. Like, the silent alarm was going off. Like, whenever there's 20 seconds of silence, there's an alarm that goes off, and that started happening around 2:30. And there was actually programs playing, like sound was happening. So I don't know why it was firing off like that, but it happened about 5 times. So
wow.
See, something's up. Are you sure Paul is okay?
I'm pretty sure. I haven't had any notifications saying otherwise. So, but I did let the manager know, like, hey, the silent alarm was going off, just letting you know. And then yeah, and that was that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Well, something's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
as for actual losses we've had, I do want to take this time just to have a moment of silence because I've been trying to hold out and hope for the best, but Grand Crew is no longer with us. It was canceled. So
I'm so sorry for your loss.
yeah, just taking a moment. Also, American Auto, which was also a very funny show, also in its second
That was a
season.
quick moment.
I know, but I had to move on because I there's time
I
and
just
you know
bowed my head.
I'm sorry you weren't on camera. I didn't see you. I just had to get that out. So Grand
Okay.
Crew and American Auto, both very hilarious shows. You can still watch them on Peacock. Maybe a whole flood of people will start watching. It's like, oh, maybe we made a mistake, but probably not, especially with, striking things happening. But I mean, they could still renew shows. There are still shows that are coming out later this fall, but they'll probably be even later because they're not even finished being written or produced.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but I'm still sad, but we still have reruns. You can go back and rewatch those and they can live on in the streaming world. So, which again is another reason why they're striking, because they don't get residuals for every time you rewatch something, and that's a problem. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's you just look over and make sure I got everything. Yeah, that's about it. Now we wrap up with things that we're grateful for, or our moment of gratitude, as we call it. And Kortney, do you want to kick off with that one?
I am grateful for the support system in my life, which consists of mostly chosen family. It consists of coworkers, friends, chosen family, and actual blood family. I'm grateful for things that I've learned from them, the things that we've been through collectively and individually, and just I can't imagine like doing life without a team around me and like a support system. So I am just very grateful for those relationships in, whatever fashion that they are in, however we forged those relationships. Um, I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for that system and that community. And you're part of
And
that, Sterling.
thank you.
Oh, nice.
So I'll put Dad on the spot. Dad, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for a lot of things. One, I'm grateful for my wife, and then I'm grateful for all my beautiful kids who are growing up, and just to watch them do better than I have done. I'm so grateful for that. And now I'm watching my grandkids grow up. I'm happy to still be here for them. And I think I got one great grand now, and I'm really happy for that one. And I'm grateful that I'm here to be able to see my great grand, and I hopefully be around a little longer to see it grow up even bigger. But there's so much I'm grateful for. God has been good to me and to our family, and the blessings that He continued to give us. I mean, if He doesn't bless me with anything else, He already done fulfilled everything I needed to see, feel, and love. And I thank Him for that. That's what I'm grateful for. Family.
You stole a little bit of mine. I was going to shout out Serenity as well, but I'll do mine last. Mom?
I am grateful for, of course, 40 years with my husband, Donald. I'm grateful for all that has come from this union. I'm just grateful to God for us being together and for all that God has done for me. And I'm just grateful for this opportunity to share with you and Kortney, just to give our little 2 cents on marriage. I'm just grateful that that's out there, that people will hear, and hopefully it'll help others in their marriage and stay together, because you don't see too many marriages stay together these days. But I'm just grateful for this opportunity and for all the love from all of you, the kids, and you, including you, Kortney. You're considered one of our kids too.
Oh,
So I'm grateful.
thank you.
See, that's more of a reason for you to come to Connecticut. But,
Yeah.
You just, he's never going to give it up until I make the trip.
right.
All right.
I mean, we are nearing like 200 episodes, so yeah.
I almost made it for a certain co-host wedding, but that didn't. So I was thinking about it.
We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll say I'm grateful for Jackie and my older sister LaShanta. They came to visit and brought my great niece, who I got to meet and hold, and she pooped on me. Well, I was holding her and she pooped, but yes, it was quite a feeling.
Anointed.
I was anointed.
He anointed you.
And she enjoyed the lovely artwork that I have on the wall of Maya Angelou. Well, specifically that one. There's a whole bunch of colors on it. She didn't care as much for Sam Cooke because not as colorful, but whatever. But it was a really, nice moment. I was glad I got to kind of spend that afternoon with them and just even just LaShanta just saying how grateful she was of me, of just kind of looking out for Jackie and us, bonding and strengthening our relationship. So grateful for Jackie as well, and still so proud of her. And she has also been on the podcast, I think, very, very early on, probably episode 3, if not 2 or 1, back in the experimental days. But that is what I am grateful for. And our last segment here is our recommendations. And I thought I was going to have a sound effect ready. I was trying to look for something that sounded like a T-Rex, but everything was just low grumbles because apparently that's what dinosaurs sounded like back then. And like, that's no fun. So I might have to just steal the sound effect for Godzilla because I just need something to like T-Rex amends and, play on words. It's a play on words. So anyway, coming full circle from a few episodes ago, I had recommended the Teskey Brothers, the Australian, I guess they're a blues band. But I really love their music. They're very soulful. Their album, the Winding Way, has now come out, and it's just as great as I thought it would be. So that is my recommendation, as well as checking out the movie Flamin' Hot and re-recommending the show Primo on Amazon Prime. Actually, no, it's on Freevee, but it's still made by Amazon, I guess. So definitely check out Primo. Very funny show. It's only, I think, 8 episodes. They need a second season badly because it's very funny. But in the meantime, check out the Teskey Brothers. Hopefully I'm saying their names correctly. But it's great. And then we'll just go in reverse order. Mom, if you have anything you'd like to recommend.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. That's also fine. Dad?
Extraction 2.
I figured. You did watch it though?
I did watch it. I really truly watched it. I enjoyed it.
Yes, he did. He watched it alone. I was knocked out, so I didn't. So
what I finally got to watch was Everywhere All the Time or something. What is it?
Everything,
everywhere, all at once.
All at once.
Yeah.
I finally got to watch that this weekend.
Yes, I had watched it this week the 3rd time. Did you watch 3 times?
Yeah, I keep falling asleep.
Because he fell asleep on different segments. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good too.
I'll say we might have to pause and have you guys like just give us your thoughts, because that's been the last movie we put into our vault of perfect movies. So I mean we're excited and like we're like I don't know, just giddy with excitement because you just
I have so many
it.
questions. Yes. I love that movie so much.
Like, did you cry? Were you confused? Or like, but yeah, I don't know. There was fighting. There's everything in that movie. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There was a lot of endings too.
Yeah. Yeah, because when that first thing of the end came in, I thought that was it. I said, what is they're ending it like this,
Oh, like when the credits started
starts up
rolling, it
again.
was
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was ending for real, and then
Mm,
it's not over. Yeah, it was
no.
very interesting, very kind of confusing, but I had to keep watching and say, how is this ending? What is happening?
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
kind of sad with the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of sad, but I'm glad the mother was able to save her.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Well, I'm just really glad you guys got to see it. So, and Mom, you saw it a few times, but Dad, glad you made it through finally.
Yeah, because I was confused because I saw the first part and I went to sleep. Then I saw the middle and went to sleep. So I finally sat down and watched the whole thing. So
Yeah, it was because of the time
all at once.
chose. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad. Kortney, do you have any recommendations?
I guess I'm gonna have to second Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I guess is a third or a fourth or a fifth recommendation for me because I know I've recommended it many times here, but
yes.
I have no other better alternative or suggestions. So I'm just gonna say, yeah, y'all should go see that. I loved it.
I mean, if you haven't already, we did devote a whole episode to it. So yeah, it's been our movie of the year. Well, came out last year, so it was definitely our movie of 2022. So I don't know. It's just great. It's great. I think in a future episode, we will revisit what is in our pantheon of perfect pictures, going for alliteration there. And, just kind of break them down and why we love them. And we've already talked about that one. Inception's another one. Matrix is another one. So yeah, we'll get into that in a future episode. And the very last thing, and do you have any shout outs, Mom or Dad, or plugs, things you want people to know about, or if you want to be found online anywhere?
So my only plug goes to this gentleman I know, T. Sterling Watson, who is now Deacon T. Sterling Watson. So we thank God for elevating him to the level of deacon.
Woo!
Thank you. I will give a plug that I was half expecting that you would, and please visit Grace and Mercy Family Ministries if you happen to be in Middletown, Connecticut. Yes. And if not, you can always go to our live stream. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and you can check us out Sunday mornings, as well as Wednesdays around 7:15 Eastern Time and 7 p.m. on Friday. I'm sorry, 7:15 Wednesday and 7 p.m. on Friday. And then I think Monday morning you do a prayer as well. Am I correct?
Monday morning, I do Monday morning prayer at 6:20 in the morning. Yes.
Okay.
It's on my Facebook page. And then on Saturday, I do a ministry called Street Fire Ministries. I actually do it on Thursday nights. That's called Late Night Strike, where I go out at 8 o'clock at night and feed the homeless and feed the people that's out there. And then we go do it again on Saturday. We meet at 3 o'clock from 3 to 4 down on Main Street in Middletown. And all we do is feed people and give out clothes. And you get a word from the Lord.
So that being said, I thank you so much for giving us some of your busy time and just hanging out with us for a little bit. And thank you so much. And that'll just about do it. Oh, wait, Kortney, plugs, shout outs, where to be found? You're still hiding?
I'm still hiding. Yeah, I have none of that. Follow T. Sterling Watson at indoob on the Twitters and everywhere on the socials.
Thank you so much.
That's my plug.
Thank you. Throw me off a little bit on how I end things after I just had it memorized.
Sorry.
I'll just have to go through the whole thing because there's no other way I can get through it. You can find me at all things at indoob, indoob.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, technically TikTok. I'm there sometimes. Remember, oh my God, my mind is blanking for real now because I can't remember the rest of it. Please remember to wash your legs, wash your feet, wash the undersides of your dishes. Please tell someone you value that you value them. Live without regrets and live for the folks you love. I've been your benevolent host, T. Sterling Watson. And remember, if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off henceforth and forevermore. And the church said,
Amen.
Amen indeed. Thank you so much for listening to the Indoob podcast. To get more Indoob in your life, check out indoob.com, patreon.com/indoob, and of course, merch over at TeePublic. Email us your Ask Indoob questions, comments, or just say hi at indoobpod@gmail.com. Linky dinks in the descripts. Please rate, comment, follow, subscribe, and hashtag tell your friends. Until next time.